welcome to season 2 of Daryl Talks to Bands. This is episode 2. The first one didn't have video, but if you haven't caught it yet, you might want to. It's called Full Circle with USS and covers from their very beginning and the EP Welding the C Drive up until Einsteins of Consciousness, which has been out just over a week now. And yes, they've announced that to be the band's final record, which has bummed a lot of people out. The episode is full of music and some really great stories. Ash and Jay, super fun guys to interview. This week, I'm talking to Dean Blundell. This podcast is a part of the network at deanblundell.com. Dean and I used to work together, and it's not so much about music other than us. Well, I kind of poke a little bit of fun at CTB from the band Trapped, but that's about as deep as we get into music. This one's just some real talk with me and Dean Blundell. Season 2, episode 2, and just like season 1, I've got the one and only Dean Blundell. So Dean, you're my number 2.
I'm a lot of people's number 2s, but they don't say it like that.
No?
No.
Not as
just call me names.
They use the real thing.
Not so much anymore, but thank you. It's great to be here. I appreciate it.
You know what makes me think of that, though, is because the story you told then about how you, Jason, and Todd would all leave your number 2s in the toilet and not flush it.
Yeah.
For some unsuspecting employee of 102.1 The Edge.
It was a game called Leave It There. Yes.
And it was usually going to be Josie that found it because she came on and did middays after you guys. Poor Josie. Like, gross.
Yeah. Buck up, camper. You're in the mix. It was a jovial time. You know, in the time when equality wasn't what it is today, we treated everybody the exact same. We were the originators of equality by leaving those shits in the toilet for the ladies to see after.
You know, I think that's what most people think of when they think back to the Dean Blundell show, is this beacon of equality. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what we were, though? That's the thing. Like, I think back to how inclusive we were. Sure, we joked, but we joked about everybody. That's where you can't. Yeah. That's where we went wrong. But we were super inclusive, in the LGBT community, and we took shots at people, which we shouldn't, obviously, but no, we absolutely always stood up for the rights of an individual to have sex with anybody they wanted to.
I think if you're part of the show, if you're in on the show, people knew that. But from like a cherry pick kind of soundbite perspective, it was easy to point fingers and stuff. You know who I found who was a regular on the show is Lesbian Lou. She's an amazing tattoo artist. Have you seen her on Instagram?
Yeah, she's like world famous now.
She's unbelievable. Like her, her art, and who knew? She was just a great character on the radio, and it was
who happened to be a lesbian.
Yeah, and my friend Steve actually sent that to me because he's got a little bit of ink too, and she does a style that I like that I have in mind, and that's like her specialty. It's called trash polka, which is kind of dope too. But
yeah, it sounds awesome.
She's fantastic. So last year too, I did this trip down through the GTA. I made it all the way up to Niagara to do this big round of interviews because the whole idea with this was it was a traveling, like every podcast I was going to do was going to be with someone different, recording a different space. Sometimes bands were playing, they were touring, coming through town, and all of that got obliterated at about a month, not even a month into it. But on that first trek through, I remember seeing some of the numbers, like the network at deanblundell.com is getting huge, and the numbers, I think you're pushing 4 million. Where's it at now?
There are so many different ways to justify what you do, and so many different numbers in when you have a digital kind of a spot, right? Like, it's not like radio where you judge according to the total amount of listeners in a certain demographic. That's kind of how you sell yourself in traditional media,
for sure. Yeah,
and reach. So, in terms of, I guess, page views, which would be one of them, 10, 11 million people, 10, 11 million page views, users in and around, I would say 20 total million users. And that's just like, and who knows, there's impressions that go into that. There's, video minutes watched, which are huge right now. Making sure that we take advantage of that has kind of been our big focus this year. But it's been awesome. I hope that, it's funny because I started the whole thing and I had hoped that I could reassert myself in some capacity somewhere. Like,
sure.
I'll just reassert myself. That's what I'm going to do.
Yep.
And about a year ago, I just stopped caring about that stuff. Like it was such an unsustainable way to look at trying to build something. Like I'm going to do this for my ego, that I just decided, fuck it, I'm going to do the things that I like, and I'm going to bring, topics, and I'm going to bring, hopefully, content providers and podcasts that people want to read and want to see and want to hear and want to watch. And pay attention to relationships. So that's been really the focus this last year, has kind of been growth. And it's been terrific. I've been really fortunate. We've been fortunate because we team up with people like you, that do understand that people want great content in the interests and spaces that they live in, whether it's music, whether it's sports, whether it's common interests, whether it's, fucking Karen videos, whatever. So, that's been cool, but there's been kind of a responsibility to it lately too, like a civic responsibility that comes with, having, a little bit of influence in this space. Is, the fun is one thing, and giving people, which is really the goal of what we want to do, is give people this space to go to that was like, not part of their everyday life. It was just kind of a break from all the shit. That's how I did radio. That's how I wanted to do this. But yeah, it's been different lately just because of the fucking state of the universe, right?
Yeah.
It's just you have to reassert yourself, but not through reputation. Now it's about responsibility. Now it's about trying to get people proper information, because everybody fucking pretends everything's news if it fits their narrative. So that's the focus. It's been great. It's fun. I fucking love it. It's tiring. I would suggest that anybody that starts their own business have the fucking intestinal fortitude to stay up until 2:00 in the morning editing your own shit and everybody else's stuff. And but it's been great. I mean, I couldn't be happier just to have a space that has a little bit of influence that we get to play in. That's my outlet. I love it. So
yeah,
it's been great.
It's great to have your kind of point of view on everything that's happening in the world, which is, it's so hard to get fact and reality, and that is the problem with literally everything right now. That you've got this body of work that is entertainment, but it also has, I mean, an opinion on the right side of history that is there forever. It's on the record, right? Because it's all on the internet, and it all lives there forever. And you know how much, sometimes, certain things that you publish or say can come back to kind of bite you in the ass. But
you hope these ones do.
Well, what's going on with I've seen on Twitter that you've got this kind of feud brewing with the anti-COVID, anti-masker barbecue guy, which was
Adam Skelly.
Was pretty.
It's not really a feud.
Are you going to debate this guy?
Well, yeah, he wants to. He said he's going to sue me if I don't. So I'm like, yeah, fuck, of course. I don't want to get sued. Let's go. Let's debate. But it kind of bleeds into, I talked about responsibility when it comes to what we're doing. And it bleeds into that premise, right? I really believe over the past 4 or 5 years, and maybe longer, but specifically sped up during the pandemic as well, and the Trump presidency, I believe that there are two silos of news that people consume. There's real news and bullshit. The bullshit is stuff that's perpetuated on social media that is dressed up like news. So Rebel News comes to mind. That place is a shithouse of lies.
Yep.
Like a fucking absolute shithouse of neoconservative extremist lies.
And that space is growing at an alarming rate.
Bingo.
Yeah.
And I'm apolitical, so I try not to get too involved in the conservative portions of the extremism or the liberal portions of extremism. I hate them equally. I think that they're the fucking scourge of the earth, and the misinformation that they feed into the public square, that people who, by and large, who aren't very bright, it's technical, it's science. You have a low IQ, you're easily swayed by extremism. It's pretty fucking simple stuff.
Yeah, look at the people at the Capitol. Like, just look at the videos. There's very few PhDs in there. Just saying. Yeah.
A lot of those people that attack the Capitol building, this is how dumb they are. They think falafels are trailer park hot dogs. These are people that drink Brute 33. These are your everyday backwoods people and it's not just in America. We have that in Canada. And it was impressed upon me when I put out a tweet that said it was right after the Capitol attack happened. I'm watching the whole fucking thing unfold, and it blew up my whole day because I knew I had a responsibility to actually fucking report a little bit of truth with some entertainment, right? Because you can't lose that part of what you do. And so that was really important to me, and it crystallized this kind of direction that I want to go with what we're doing, which is don't fucking lie to people. Don't lie to people when their lives are at stake. And we have such a major, major problem with bullshit news derived from the extreme poles of both sides of every equation that it really dawned on me that I had an important part if I was going to continue doing this job or continue building this thing. And so I think it's funny that something that originally started as sort of a vanity thing or a relevance thing turns into something that you can make a difference with, and that's been kind of the really cool part about what it is that we do, and what it is the ability to be able to pivot and turn and talk about the things that really fucking matter, at the same time entertain people and bring the lighter side of it. Like, are you watching any of these videos of these people getting arrested that were crashing the Capitol last week?
Oh,
and
it's
throwing
insane.
their fucking videos all over the place.
Yeah, and the
Right?
more the each day, more and more of that stuff comes out, and the crazier it gets with every single one. It seems like when I first saw the video of the crowd chanting "Hang Mike Pence," I'm like, wow, this is like
Not a lot of room for interpretation there too.
No, there's no actors in the crowd. They're not Antifa. No matter, like the MAGA shaman Q guy, that's been like the main
Jake
one.
Angeli, yeah,
had a photo with Giuliani. Like there's like, and now that there might be congressmen who have given them access like the day before to get the layout of the Capitol. That's
a whole other story, dude. It is so fucking deep, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist as to how that whole thing happened. But my point was, and I put out this tweet about, no, don't worry about it. Aaron O'Toole, who's the leader of the Conservative Party, he just happens to be a conservative who espouses those views. I could give a fuck what member of any party he is. I hate parties.
He's a dipshit that happens to be a conservative. Yeah.
Yeah. He just happens to be the evangelical hillbilly who all those guys run to, and the mantra and the bullshit that he spews. And so the first thing he did after this whole thing happened was nothing. The second thing he did was put out a tweet saying, "I condemn all white nationalism and white supremacy." Easy. It's a fucking gimme. The third thing he did was go on Rebel News to talk about discord in the United States. Rebel News is an extreme right-wing blog.
Yeah. Yep. Like Newsmax or One American News in the States. Like, it's the same
bingo
level of shit.
And I watched that, and I'm like fucking in disbelief that after all that he could passively give his white supremacist, conservative, extremist supporters a nod and a wink and go, "I didn't have to say it, but I really would appreciate your vote, so I'm take it easy on you."
Yeah,
that's
very,
what that was.
It's the Canadianized Trump. Like, Trump will just be more blatant about it. Like, Proud Boys, stand by, stand on, be on hold or whatever the hell he said, and do all that.
Stand back and stand by.
Yeah, and so he'll be more blatant about it. Aaron O'Toole, that's just it's the much more Canadian one. It's like slightly
he's a much more polished turd.
Yeah, it's slightly more polite extremism.
Yeah. Yeah, it's accessible extremism is what it is.
Yeah, right? But it's for everybody,
Yeah, it's it's and by not he's permitting it by not putting it down.
By being forceful against it. Yeah,
and so that's his issue. And that's a leadership issue. That's a fucking character flaw as deep as the goddamn Grand Canyon too.
Yeah,
if you're not going to stand up for against white supremacists and extremists. Like, that's the fucking gimme of a lifetime. If someone's like, "What do you want to do?" Oh, just never go on another blog again. Never talk to white extremists. Never always condemn their support. Can you do that? Yeah, for sure. Well, then you'll be good. Like, that's how easy that was. It was like the biggest fucking gimme in the world. It was like when someone asks you, "Are you in support of the Black Lives Matter movement?" and you don't say all Black Lives Matter, you're just an idiot, right? Like you're just a complete moron who has no idea how to negotiate PR for yourself or anybody else. So on top of that, and people being kind of forced into that, who have extreme conservative views, and on the other side, the left, it's just, if I feel like it's really important to make sure that I'm on and we are on, as you pointed out aptly, the right side of history when it comes to these things. And it's not just documented, but it's motivational for other people to do the same thing. So
yeah, it's the right side of history is something that I would say, because I get involved in a lot of this arguments and political stuff back in in 2015, everything leading up to the 2016 election. And, I had friends, and still do, that are still on the Trump train, guys that I grew up with. And I didn't understand it then. And I stopped engaging at a certain point, because you just know that there's no positive end result. It's just hot air. You're not going to change anyone's minds. You're not going to convince anyone to see things or have a different perspective. So what's the point? And I remember saying at that time, like, at some point you're going to look back and realize you're on the wrong side of history. There's no way that I could ever have imagined that it would end up with an insurrection at the Capitol. That, to me, that is just like, it was maybe 4 or 5 steps further than I thought it could have gotten. But
oh yeah, it was nuclear. Like it was like the weirdest thing in the world. Like I said, I was sitting there blogging. I started watching the electoral votes and the procedure in the House and the Senate. And all of a sudden, it was just, there's a crowd outside, and it got worse and worse over like the span of an hour and a half, and like no cops, no nothing.
yeah,
Which, back to your point, it was fucking done from the inside, if you ask me. But that'll all play out. And again, I don't want to feed into a false narrative or say this is what I've heard when I haven't heard it, right? So. And that's part of the responsibility. Like you also have a responsibility as an influencer, as someone in the music game, as someone who does what you do and does it well, to be able to do the same fucking thing. And not just about your content when it comes to, bands and when they're coming to town and what they're going through, but like, we have a social responsibility now as people with some kind of a mantle to be able to usher in fact based on irrefutable fact from real sources, and the truth. Well, you can do that with entertainment. You don't have to be a cock, all the time. You can take a break and go, "Hey guys, hang on. Let me just explain everything to you here." And I think that is what's needed, because I see it. There's such a massive void for not centrist, because centrist sounds like you're not committed, but
wishy-washy, like, yeah,
committed, fact-based human beings that refuse to allow religion and politics play a role in being a fucking good citizen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think if you're doing content, people also want to engage with somebody. Like, if they're interested in music or sports or travel or, any of the number of, different areas that are covered by people on the podcast network, you kind of want to align yourself with people who have, I think, similar values. Like, I don't want to hear, a podcast about traveling or food from some guy who
stormed the Capitol.
Yeah, or who thinks the Earth is flat, or any of that like laundry list of ridiculous garbage that there is that people believe now and is normal.
What's going to be interesting is over the next 6 months to a year, as we kind of emerge from the pandemic and the unemployment and all that stuff, is watching people who had extreme white perspectives, extremely conservative, lying bullshit perspectives that played all that stuff out on their social media accounts, try and get jobs.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to the most, is watching all those people pretend that it didn't happen, try to reassimilate into the real world now that, because it's going to happen. Social media and Facebook announced they're going to have brand new fucking regulations for people because of what happened. Same thing with Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all that bullshit. Google, Amazon, the people that own the internet, they're not going to allow this to happen again. So watching those people try and go into the real world after this is going to be the best. If you really love Schadenfreude, it's my favorite word of 2021. If you really love Schadenfreude, you will sit back and revel with glee. Schaden means danger in German. Freud means joy. It's the taking glee in someone's destruction. Watch that happen. All those arguments that you have with those morons, they'll disappear. You'll just sit there and shovel popcorn and go, hang on, just watching this. I'm just scrolling through my buddy's Facebook account who can't get work. Like that's going to happen.
Yeah,
right?
For sure. I mean, it's been playing out that way, I think, for quite some time now too. It's all been related to everything that started with Trump coming down the escalator. And how's that guy going to, what is his next step after? I mean, let's assume that there isn't a massive civil war on Inauguration Day and that the MAGA mob isn't going to storm every Capitol. And
have you not seen some of the videos that are coming out of like the green zone and then the interior zone and the barrier around the Capitol building and the White House? Like, it's the most secure place on the fucking world. And they're still putting up more shit because even 5 minutes ago, a guy with a handgun and 500 rounds of ammo, Secret Service outfit, and a fake badge got caught and arrested trying to get into the zone around the Capitol building.
And they're saying there's a lot of chatter, right? They're saying like there's a lot of internet chatter. It's everywhere. It's very...
Yeah, but the fucking internet chatter. The Proud Boys and racists, sneaky, but dumb. You have to be dumb to be a racist. It's a fact, right? Like it's, if you're a Proud Boy or if you lean, you've got racist leanings, extreme racist leanings. If you have some kind of thought process that dictates that you are the master race and you're white, you're dumb. Like it's just an irrefutable psychological fact.
Yeah,
it is. I would say look it up, but I hate when people say look it up. But you should look that one up. Google IQ related to extremism, specifically evangelical racists. You'll get some fucking great studies and answers. But my understanding and my limited understanding is that, you know, the way that we're watching this whole thing play out is the worst case scenario, right? So what does that mean for Canada? What does that mean for us? Is that regular Canadians have to promote fact. We got to work fucking harder. Like, how many times have you tweeted, Daryl, retweeted something based on a headline without actually reading the story?
I mean, I think everyone's done that to a certain
we all have
degree.
Yeah.
Because it fits your opinion or something like that. But I do make an effort to make sure it lies within the facts. If I'm going to retweet something, I'm going to know at least where it's coming from. Like whatever.com, I'm going to know that's, if I'm having an opinion on something, it's not just like, hey, look at this.
Yeah, but it goes even further than that, Daryl. And it goes further than that because you can't include a .com with it. You have to include a trusted.com. Like, you can't just get your news. It's from Fox News. That's been bullshit for years. Oh, it's from someone forwarded me this thing on the Pope getting arrested for extreme pedophilia from a site called the Conservative Beaver. I'm like, that's not fucking news.
Yeah, no.
Like you have to search trusted news sources that are graded as such, and you have to cross-reference your shit. Now, we don't live in a time back when you and I were on the radio where you got the three major pillars of information and you just knew it was trusted because you get sued if it was a fucking lie. That doesn't exist anymore.
Well, what's going to happen when, so cable news.
So you got to do the work.
Cable news is a ratings game, and they're driving a lot. I mean, Fox has driven a lot of this stuff. And then there's the people who aren't, that Fox is too liberal for, that have started this whole other thing that we kind of talked about earlier. But they're going to go through this need to maintain ratings. And when Donald Trump, I don't know, maybe he's going to be the biggest news of 2021. Who knows what his moves are if he doesn't. He should be in jail. He should. I mean, the Southern District. I mean, that's a whole other thing. But he should be too busy to be pro chaos moving forward.
Too busy to affect politics and people. Yeah, but he won't be. So this, you want to know my theory? This is just a theory.
Okay.
Is that he is going to be so severely limited in the next couple of days after he leaves office? Like, think about it. When he leaves, he's just a fat liar. Who bronzes his face way too fucking much.
He's a Benedict Arnold is what he's turned into.
And
yeah,
he's got 40, 50 lawsuits, not to mention the investigation from the insurrection, not to mention his impeachment for the insurrection that happened, which he was impeached for. He was found guilty of it. And then he's got the Senate trial. Then he's got all his financial shit. Then he's got his taxes. Then he's got all the people now that are coming out. If you're watching these videos, all the insurrectionists and the news cameras that are following them, they're following the FBI into their houses going, oh, yeah, come with us. We'll pick this guy up, film this, including this real estate agent named Jenna Ryan, who today goes, I was only doing it because he told me to do it. The president, he told me to come, do what we did, so we did it. So I deserve a partner. Same thing with that shaman guy, Jake Angela. He's like, hey, man, don't blame me. The president told me to do it. So you're going to have like all of the legality involved with that and the criminality involved in that fall on him after. So I wouldn't be surprised if he fucking splits and goes to Russia. I wouldn't be.
Take sanctuary in Russia or something. He's a fucking
national hero over there, right? Like he's painted as like the fucking Abraham Lincoln to Russians. Like he really, really is. So that's what I think is going to happen, because there's no like people. His own banks are telling him, "Take your money. We don't want it." And
Deutsche
he's got
Bank,
nowhere to fucking bank.
PGA's pulling stuff from his courses. Like nobody wants to be involved with him in a business capacity, really, because I mean, a lot of the MAGA supporters aren't big business people, and that's who have his back. It's
because he incited a fucking resurrection against his own government. Like, it's pretty simple stuff. It's cause and effect. It's not like there's no like. I still get tweets and I put stuff up about the truth of what happened, and I'll still get comments and tweets from people that say, "Oh yeah, well you didn't consider this." There's nothing else to consider.
Yeah. The whataboutism.
Big lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The what about? What about?
Lie.
Yeah.
And based on that big lie, those people did a bunch of really gnarly shit. They're supposed to go to jail now. So should he.
He totally. There's no way that you can come to any other conclusion that he 100% inspired that. Like there's just no other possible answer to why that happened.
No, and I think it's bigger than that, though. I think it's bigger than inspired. I think he fucking, because some of the tweets that he put out before he the actual event was like, join us tomorrow. It's going to be wild. You won't believe what's going to happen tomorrow. Like the foreshadowing that he put into that whole thing was so fucking insane.
Creating graphics and tweeting graphics about come to DC on January 6th. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true for sure. So we'll see. I'm supposed to be a music podcast, so there's one guy who comes to mind with all of this. And remember the band Trapped? We would have played Trapped at the Edge.
Trapt.
Yeah, they had that song Headstrong. Headstrong, I'll take you on. Okay, so Chris Taylor Brown is the lead singer of that band, and he has also been thrown off of every social media platform for his extreme right-wing views, and is like a COVID denier. They were doing shows in the middle of the pandemic and all of this stuff, and he posted a photo of himself wearing this because the Proud Boys colors are black and yellow, right? And so he's wearing
always with the Fred Perry shirts too. Fred hates it.
Yeah. So my podcast has got a black and yellow logo, right? So I see this picture of Chris Taylor Brown the other day, and he looks like such a douchebag. It's so like you just look at that guy and you like look at the look on his face. He thinks he is like fucking king shit of MAGA Island. And he's got this black leather jacket, and it's got these yellow stars, and he's got this look on his face like, And so I felt compelled because you see black and yellow now, and I'm starting to think that's what people associate it with. So
no, the Steelers still for me.
Still the Steelers. I would say the Pittsburgh Pirates. Yeah, Pittsburgh Pirates. Yep. I was a big Public Enemy fan growing up who also have black and so I would wear Pittsburgh.
Oh, and the
Pirates.
Hamilton Tiger Cats.
The Tie Cats. Yes, that's the black and gold, of course. I worked in Hamilton for a while. That's no joke there. They don't I know. They don't mess around.
That's why I said it.
So I felt the need to I think I put it on Instagram, not on Twitter, and I grabbed a bunch of music logos that were black and white. Or black and yellow. So there's like Public Enemy, there's Wu-Tang, there's Ned's Atomic Dustbin, and there's a bunch of them. And I was like, on behalf of, good music, black and white logos, like basically like the Proud Boys fucking suck. Because I think you need to, again, there's a need to say this because it's been normalized and everybody in the world knows who the Proud Boys are, and they should just be some insignificant group of dipshits in a basement.
I agree. And there's this argument between just relegating them to irrelevance and not interacting with any of their shit. And then there's the other argument, which is it needs to be called out. And that should be news. If we're going to call out bad actors and assholes like that and racists and extremists, we should be making them news. We should be highlighting them, their history. We should be publicly shaming them. I fucking hate cancel culture with a passion. Like with an absolute passion. I've been canceled. It's no fun. But I'm embracing it when it comes to trying to crush really, really evil, shitty people.
Yeah.
From using it to hurt innocent Canadians, innocent Americans, and that's bothersome to me. Those are the people that need to be made an example of. So there's two different examples. There's two different theories in how you deal with it, but the latter is more fun. It's fucking way more fun to toast somebody. It's way more fun to get a few thousand likes on a tweet comparing Aaron O'Toole to Donald Trump than it is to just sit there and go, well, there he goes again. And if you do it effectively, you can be part of the solution, right? Like it doesn't have to be all negative. It doesn't have to be you being a total asshole for the sake of being an asshole or chasing clout on your own capacity. That's when it goes wrong. But if you can substantiate your hatred with fact, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I think that there's a certain appetite for that content as well, too. You know, like that's where the whole thing of like those inbreds in the States that would be like, there's black people in the park. They'd call the police because they're just there, right? Like people loved watching how stupid and ignorant and like, it's almost like one of those things like these people still exist in the world. And now, but now it's just so it's prominent. Like those people have a platform and they almost took over the U.S. Capitol. Like it's
considered legitimate.
It is.
It's considered legitimate, and all of it is based on lies and religion, derived mainly from evangelical Christianity. It's a fucking fact.
Yeah.
You know, I was just prepping a post before we started doing this podcast, and it was about this anti-masker parade that's going on in downtown Toronto today. And there's a guy named Pastor Henry Hillebrand, who's the pastor of this place called the Church of God in Aylmer, Ontario.
Oh, that's it this way. That's it by Ottawa. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a cunt.
Okay. Good to know.
He's just a dumb religious cunt.
All right.
And he's leaning out of the back of this Suburban paid for by his Jesus freaks who think the money is going to Jesus. It's not. It's going to this beautiful Suburban that he was leaning out of the back of, hugging people as they went on their way through this anti-mask parade. And I enjoyed it. I was like, good. That's a super spreader. That'll get a few.
Yeah,
like that'll get a few of them. Maybe even Henry himself. Those people aren't worth. They're not worth the life that they're holding in extreme disregard. Like, you know, if someone says, "Well, their life's worth something," well, it's not to them. Look what they're doing.
Yeah, they don't seem to care about it, or maybe they do. Maybe they care about their freedom, and that's their life, and
they care about their freedom, and they care about the religion that justifies their actions more than they care about their lives, and definitely more than they care about our lives. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it. So that's just justification for me to publicly shame and hate in newsy ways.
That's like the who's the MP from Kingston? I think you tweeted about him too.
Randy Hillier.
Yeah, and he's posting
again,
that.
Total cunt.
And he's been one for years. I worked in Kingston for a few years, and
the Kingston cunt.
You get to know. I mean, it's a tight knit community there. You get to know all the mayor's a bit of like a local celebrity and all that, and so you know the players in town. And like Hillier was just like, oh, ugh.
That picture he put out at Christmas of him around the kitchen table with his family.
Yeah, there's like 15
denying
of them.
COVID, denying lockdowns, denying that masks work.
What's worse?
I wanted to go.
What's worse, that or the ones who recorded fake videos of them by a Christmas tree to go on vacation somewhere down south?
It's all bad.
Yeah,
it's all bad. There's no There's no like there isn't one-upsmanship when it comes to being an asshole. You're just an asshole.
They're trying.
Right?
They're making their best effort.
Yeah, but some of it's incidental assholery. Some of it's like super assholery, and some of it's just like intrinsic. Like this guy Randy Hillier, who's a COVID denier, and he's like a fucking elected official.
Yeah.
He's been elected by people, and he's lying to the same people that gave him this beautiful pension and these free fucking flights to Ottawa and a free condo, and he's telling them to go die by lying to them. And everybody's, that's not a difference of opinion, by the way. That's the other thing. If you say, oh, this is a difference of opinion or a difference of policy, it's not. It's fucking science. It's irrefutable. You can't argue with fucking science. It's like saying, I don't think 1 + 1 makes 2. Why not? That's how it's always been. It's been proven through theory and fact and studies that arithmetic is exact.
Yeah.
Same with science in this case. We don't understand the pathology, but we understand that it's real because we've been vaccinating people in Canada since like 1784. So like, and here's the irony of it, and it's a shame. Randy Hillier and Rebel News and every one of those right-fighting extremists wouldn't be here if they weren't vaccinated in the first fucking place.
That's very true. That's very true.
So
you can't have an opinion on science. Here's the thing too, and like there's certain quotes and things. Like I'm an atheist, so there's certain things that I see that come out. And Ricky Gervais has had a couple great ones, and one of them is like if you wiped out all of science, if you wiped out every piece of information, be it digital, written, book, and just gone, and you did the same thing to religion, one would come back the exact same, and the other one wouldn't. Because
well, it's all a lie. Like man-made religion is just, they're all cults. Like there isn't a religion. You can't convince me that there isn't a religion that doesn't have an ulterior motive other than
maybe the Buddhists. I think the Buddhists seem like they're just chill and good people.
Yeah, they seem all right. The Buddhists seem pretty cool.
Don't want to hurt anybody,
Sikhs seem all right too. I don't mind Sikhs. Like, I'm okay with that.
They're very, compassionate. But they don't stone people to death and
no.
I'm pissed off at humanity. I'm going to drown them all.
Do you know where this came from too? For me, it sounds crazy, but I got fired for. As you know, for our jury, our producer was
talked about a court case.
We made some gay rape jokes on about a guy who raped people, saying, "Hey, he's going to prison. He's going to have a great time. He deserves what he gets." Right? It's cause and effect, big cause and effect, and massive natural consequences guy. So, I realized that I still had these like inherent biases through that whole process, and I realized where they came from. It was from my born again Christian upbringing, and I was so fucking grossed out over the by myself. And now I've watched how it all plays out. It's one of the most embarrassing parts of what I thought was right that I'll ever have to fucking deal with is the religion portion, as it tries to tell you how to treat people and who's worthy of love and who isn't, who's worthy of equality and who isn't. By religion's standard, nobody else is worthy of the kingdom of heaven other than the people in that specific religion. So fuck them already.
Yeah, other religions are not worthy of it, just them, right?
No, but it comes back to the exclusivity. So I fucking abandoned religion over the past like 7 years completely, to the point where I'm an agnostic spiritualist, I guess you could call it, where I believe there's something, I don't know what it is. I think every man-made religion that says this is what you have to do to go to heaven is fucking bullshit, or to come back as a butterfly. It's totally a lie. But I can't discount any of them either. I just know what they do to people and hate it, so I stay away from it, right? It's the fleecing of people, taking their money, taking their guilt and their conscience, making them feel anxious all the time because they have to adhere to some kind of religious man-made standard. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah, another one of those things that Gervais said, he was on with Stephen Colbert, who's a very outspoken Catholic, and they got into this big discussion about religion, and Ricky Gervais said to him, look, if you add up all of the religions and each of them have their own God, there's like for example, let's say there's 3,000. There's about that many in the world, but for just a nice round number. Let's say it's 3,000. He's like, you don't accept or believe in 2,999 of them. He's like, right. I just don't believe in one more. That's it. You know?
He puts things succinctly, and there's common sense there, right? Like that's the thing, is there's no common sense behind any man-made religions. None. It's all about fucking guilt, shame, and pyramid marketing schemes to get you to put money in that basket every Sunday or whenever your fucking church is, right? That's all it is. It's nothing more than fucking Amway for your soul.
Have you watched, there's a show on The Righteous Gemstones. Have you seen that with Danny McBride and Walton Goggins is in it? And and John Goodman too is in it. I don't know if they've done season 2 yet. I watched the first season and it was fucking great. They're all about they're evangelical that are on the take. Like he's got a TV show and they're putting on a show every Sunday. Yeah, it's like a concert and there's.
That's all it is, man. It's just a grift.
But with those guys, I mean, I like anything with Danny McBride, but Walton Goggins I think is underrated and a great actor, and John Goodman is. John Goodman. Yeah, he doesn't do bad things, right? So you got to watch that. It's fucking great.
I will. I appreciate that. I'm all about. I just wrote it down as a matter of fact because I'm all about. Oh, tell me about that. I want to watch that one now. It's like books. Tell me about this book. I want to learn about that. Like, tell me that book. That's how you do it.
Yeah,
you hear it from trusted sources. You're a trusted source.
The hell else do we have to do these days, anyhow? Some entertaining content. Okay, I'll consume that.
Yeah. Yeah, I that's the thing, right? Like we've got some fucking time. I'm doing a podcast on a Saturday. Because we've got time. We're doing the stay at home thing. You staying at home, by the way? Are you sticking close?
Yeah, pretty much. I'm so there's a couple interesting things that are going on out in this region. So we're like Quebec is like a stone's throw from where I am in Ottawa. And in Quebec, there's some. They had the curfew first, and now in Ottawa, they're just like saying, stay at home unless it's an emergency kind of thing, or essential, right? So,
which is bullshit because you can drive around all day and go, I'm just going for some essential things.
No one's going to stop you. You're not going to get pulled over. You're not going to ask where you're going or any of those things. However, exercise is one of the things that is on that list. So we got 25 centimeters of snow. So I'm going to go snowboarding tomorrow. And that is over on the Quebec side. Now, I did go snowboarding a couple weeks ago. And
you douche.
What do you mean,
douche?
What are you talking about?
Quebec to go, you're going to skate. That's not essential.
It's exercise. And
snowboarding is not essential.
I've been.
How can you? Or does Quebec? Do they have snowboard hills? Do they have ski hills that are open?
All of the ski hills around here are in Quebec. They're operating at.
Okay.
So I had to pre-book my ticket like a week in advance, and they're running at a limited capacity. You can't get anywhere near a chairlift unless you have like a face covering and all that kind of stuff.
I get that. I was just shitting on you for fun.
Yeah, no, it makes sense, right?
Like being one of those guys.
It's logical though, but the thing is, I went a couple of weeks ago, and in Ontario, they said you don't have to renew your license plate stickers during COVID until further notice. Don't bother going to the thing. Why do that? And like the economy's in the shit, so here, we're giving you a break, which is nice. I'm like, all right, cool. In Quebec, they haven't done that, so I went to this place 2 weeks ago, and when I came out, there's a police car behind my car, and I was like. I didn't think anything of it really, and then when she saw that I was putting the stuff into that car, got out and started talking about the license plate sticker. I'm like, yeah, but we've been given like a pass on that. And she's like, yeah, but you're in Quebec. You cannot be on the road in Quebec. I'm like, I'm going to go straight back home to Ontario right now. So we good? And she's like, no. Guess how much that ticket is for having
$475?
Bang on. Nailed it. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, holy shit! You just won it all on The Price is Right. You won both showcases.
That's what a guy who got recently separated needs on one day out is a $475 ticket.
Yeah, I haven't had
what you needed.
I was going out for some physical exercise, which I also thought would be good for mental health and all of that kind of stuff. Haven't worked in some time. Thanks, Quebec. Speaking of that, can I play you something? Can I play a little something here?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a clip from our podcast from the second episode of Daryl Talks to Bands when I first started, and this is how it wrapped up.
Okay.
Oh no, is it this one? It's this one.
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know. Dude, don't worry about it. It's not an exact science, just a podcast. You're fine.
okay.
I can fill for you and crack a couple jokes. Hey,
Here it is. I got it. I got it now. I got the right one. Got the right button.
All right.
So this is how episode 2 of Daryl Talks to Band essentially wrapped up.
But thanks for doing this, and best of luck. We're really excited to have you part of the universe. Really excited to have, especially good people that know what they're doing and know how to communicate. And and I know it's been a long time since we've seen each other, and it's really, really great to see you again. You're one of the good people that
You
I
too.
got a chance
Thanks,
to work
Dean.
with for a long period of time.
Awesome.
And I'm happy that you're married to the same woman still.
Yep. Still
Not
together.
a lot of us are.
I know. Still together. A couple kids.
Oh, that'll end soon.
No, it's all good. Love my wife.
No, I know you do, but just if you take ratios into it, there's
we
at
come
least
from
a 65% chance.
an industry with bad statistics,
Right? When it comes to saying married and stuff. But
Yeah.
she's like, I remember Steph is by far one of the smartest people, one of the kindest, most lovely individuals I've ever met. And much like most people, when I say hang on to him, you totally swung way out of your league and you hit a homer. So congratulations.
I couldn't agree more. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Talk to you soon.
All right, cheers. So I'm doing this podcast from my recently rented bachelor pad. So thanks, Dean. Is there any other good wishes you want to bestow upon me for this year?
Not really. No, I think that was enough for a lifetime. Like I didn't do that. I'm just smart. So I just said what was probably going to happen. And here's the funny part is that you play that, and I've heard it because you texted it to me, and I texted you and I said, sorry, I'm fucking sorry if I did that. But then I had to really think about it. I'm like, I didn't cause the end of Daryl Spring's marriage. There's no way. But when you take ratios into account, good chance it's not going to work out. It's like 65% or 63% of marriages end in divorce or separation. So, which I started thinking in the shower today about divorce and separation.
I do my best
Because
thinking in the shower sometimes.
Yeah, I was naked.
Thanks. I figured.
You're welcome.
Who showers in a bathing suit? That's weird.
I used to.
Go
I
on.
was shy. I was shy around me. If I could wear a onesie in a bathroom, I would. If I could wear a onesie in a shower, I would. I don't look good naked.
We talked about this on episode 2 as well.
Oh, did we? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't look great naked.
Okay.
But I was struck by all the advertising that goes out when it comes to Match.com, getting people together, these commercials that you see of people walking hand in hand into the sunset, and they're both in their 70s or 80s. These commercials about joint pain where people can like play tennis and stuff together. I'm like, it was all predicated on a lie. Like 65, that's 45% of us having those experiences. And even then, those aren't the people that are happy. That's 45% of people who just stayed together.
Who, yeah.
And so
Grit their
what
teeth
I
and
want to
bared it.
see, exactly. And so now we're all conditioned to think, oh, our marriage is over. It's a terrible failure. I don't even think those things should have been happening in the first place. I think what they needed to do is have representational marketing of how marriage really works and have two people sitting on couches 10 feet apart with like a TV on in the corner and the dude sleeping and the woman is crying her eyes out because she's so fucking miserable.
Or I've also seen couples that are seemingly happy that tweet things like, "Oh, we're married and have 2 kids. We never have sex," and then the spouse will like it or ha ha ha. It's so true.
Yeah.
And it's like,
no, but I'm saying the
happy with that?
representation of what marriage is, by and large, has been a lie our whole fucking lives. Because I bet you of the 45% of people who stay married until they die, I bet you 5% are super, super jacked about still being married 40 or 50 years in.
yeah, it's
Maybe.
a tough
I
thing.
bet you it's 5%. So if 95% of people who get married aren't being represented in marketing, they're doing a terrible fucking job. And on top of it, they're making us all feel like we failed when it's really them that's failing by being so happy. And the only reason that they're happy is because probably one of them is incapacitated.
That's right.
That's what I think.
I think you might be onto something, Dean.
Like it's like Facebook. Marriage is like Facebook. We only ever see great representations. We never see the reality, which is like, I'm telling you how great your marriage is in that last clip, and you're just, and inside obviously now, because you're separated, you're probably dying inside going, it's the shits.
Things are really great right now, but I'm being recorded and this is going to be published, so everything's fine. We get along so well though now. It's like, because
really?
Yeah, we have 2 girls, and like I live around the corner, and like we just communicate nicely with each other. It's I don't know. We're like way on to something here.
Is she dating again?
No, I don't think so.
Are you dating again?
No.
It doesn't even need to be called dating.
No, really.
There's a difference between single and lonely, right?
Right. Yes. And honestly, like whatever.
Would you be mad if she was hooking up?
No, whatever makes people happy. Like we kind of both said, like, this isn't working right. We're not happy, right?
Yeah,
so let's do something that's happy. Like that would be cool. It's like
relationships are supposed to end in 7 years if you believe in science.
Yeah, there's
7
something
years max.
There's something to that. We did put something into, and it was my idea though, to put something into our separation agreement that if one does start to see someone or date someone, that the other person, meaning me or her, gets to meet them before they meet the kids. So I thought that was a good idea.
That's stupid.
Maybe I'm not a bright guy.
No, but that's stupid to me, because that's like saying they're gonna, like, if you get to that point, she's gonna introduce, or you're gonna introduce your kids to them anyway. Like, it's not like it's contingent on. Is it like
no?
Does it
not
have,
an
you have a
approval
clause in there that says if I don't like the person, Daryl can't introduce them to the kids?
No, there's no approval required. It's just like the courtesy of, like, if you're.
That's a courtesy thing. It doesn't have to be in a contract.
Oh, sometimes, Dean, you've been married. Sometimes courtesy needs to be a contractual thing. Come on, let's be honest here. You know how it goes.
That's a great point. That's a really, really good point. Yeah,
this has been awesome.
Dude. I listen. Marriage is a terrible idea. It's like this. It is. It's a terrible idea. It's a colonial religious concept that doesn't stand the smell test anymore when it comes to how we're wired. Like, it just doesn't. I'm of that opinion. I've kind of gotten to this point in my life where the ability that I have to be able to do whatever I want is more important to me than being with a woman.
Sure,
far more fucking important. So
I did a lot more water skiing this past summer, probably.
Attaboy.
And it's snowboarding and stuff like that, because now, and you know what? I love being a dad too. So like, there's it's just a better situation. I mean, I think everyone's digging it.
You're healthier. I love it. Yeah. I love being on your podcast and hearing that you're healthier.
Thank you.
Than you were the last time we did this.
I love having you on my podcast. It's always an easy discussion. I started running the music because I realized we've been going a while now. And
how long have we been going? How long has this been going? What do you got? What do you got for time, Daryl? Come on, radio check time.
52 minutes we've been going.
Yep.
It's
is that normally how long your podcasts go for?
I aim for about half hour of chatter. Usually I got bands, so we put some music in there, and so like you put a couple songs in, they end up being about 45 minutes. In the early going, I was doing 2 guests, and they were like an hour and a half. But there was also a lot of bands coming through town, and there was a lot more. It's like, I have so many opportunities to do these interviews, but if I'm doing a weekly podcast, I have all these interviews and just waiting to release them as more are coming in. So I was trying to, and then COVID happened, and so you just reinvent the whole thing and
you know what? I'm glad you explained all that to me, Daryl.
Well, you asked. I've done this before with you. It's like you'll ask me like a simple question.
You are the king
of giving
of details. You want to make sure that you cover it all. Don't bother. Don't bother. Just when it comes to facts. That's it.
All right.
That's all.
I'm a factual guy.
I still love you. Thanks for having me.
Dean. Thanks for being on.
Anytime.
All right. Cheers, buddy.
See you, big fella.